Normally when I taste red wine, it's like immediately gag. And this is not gag. It's like...
Good, because I made it.
You did?
This is my wine.
You know what?
Oh my God.
It's not disgusting. Like, you know what I mean?
Take hashtag not disgusting.
Sorry, but because Nikki, like I do not like red wine.
I was waiting for you to make the rotten juice face that you make with all red.
It's not there. It doesn't taste rotten. I mean, it tastes like wine, but not.
She's taking another sip, you guys.
Oh my God, it's pretty good for you. Good job. I'm serious. I'm not disgusted by this. And when I taste red wine, it's like red wine.
She's scrunching her face in many different ways right now.
I'm so proud of you. I'm serious. This is not gross.
So one of my most long-time girlfriends, Heather from Austin, Texas, has, since as long as I've known her, proclaimed that she does not like wine. She has even gone so far in certain settings when I encouraged her over the years, just smell it, just taste it, to make a very horrible scrunched up face and say, ugh, it smells like rotten juice. So when I started the podcast a couple months ago, Heather had a great idea, and she said, what if you did an episode with your friend who doesn't like wine, and I could talk about why I don't like it, and maybe it might be interesting to some other people out there who are not obsessed with wine like Nikki Lamberti. So this is that episode. And Heather came to California for the first time to visit me last weekend, and we did a little girls' getaway up in Lake Tahoe, and I brought some bottles to try, and she was a really good sport. She was open to tasting. I was not trying to convince her in any way to become a wine lover, but she was curious because I think she has always been surrounded in her life by people that do like wine, whether it's her parents or me or other friends. And so she's always been intrigued by the idea of it, the social nature of it, just really had zero appreciation for what she was smelling and tasting in the glass. So I think you will find it interesting to see what ensued in our little Airbnb in Lake Tahoe when I opened 5 different bottles of wine, and we just went for it. And here's a spoiler alert. Heather is not shy, never has been, never will be. It's one of the things I love about her. So she just gives this to us real straight with that great Texas accent. And I think you will be interested to hear her review as someone who does not like wine. So before we jump in, if you haven't already, please leave a rating for the podcast. Take a moment and leave us a review in Apple or Spotify, and send me a note. Email's been kind of quiet lately. Nikki, Nikki, at sipwithnikki.com. Let me know what you think. Let me know who'd you like to hear, topics you'd like to cover. Send in a listener question, and we'll give you a shout out on a future episode. Here we go with Heather, who does not like wine. Hi, Heather.
Hi.
Are you having fun on our girls' getaway weekend in Lake Tahoe?
Yes, I'm having the best one.
What's been your favorite part so far?
Activity-wise, I really liked the hike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That hike kicked my butt a little bit, but it was fun.
Yep, but we did it. And actually the smell of the pine trees was something that I really enjoyed. So it's funny that we're going to be using our sense of smell.
Well, and you kept saying when we were walking over the pines that it reminded you of a certain smell from growing up in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And that is part of the reason that wine can be so special and emotion evoking, because our sense of smell is linked to memory.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I love about wine, and why I've chosen to dedicate my life to this beverage that you don't like.
Yeah.
And you've never liked.
Not fond of wine. You've heard me refer to it as rotten juice. which I know is offensive to all the wine drinkers out there.
That's okay. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Not everybody loves it, and
Right.
not everybody's world revolves around it.
Yeah.
And I still love you,
That's right.
and you're still a kind, intelligent human being who's contributing to society in a positive way, even if you don't like wine.
Yeah. I think I had mentioned to you when you started doing your podcast that I was like, wouldn't it be funny you could reach a wider audience of those that don't drink wine, and why drinking wine is cool, or why people who you love drink wine, try to understand that. And I think that's where that stemmed from, is I was like, you're obsessed with wine. I am not fond of wine. I don't drink wine. So yeah, I'm excited to learn why this is so cool to some people.
Well, thank you for suggesting it, and thank you for being open to trying. If nothing else, hopefully there's just some little light bulbs that come away from it. I'm not going to try to change your life. You, of all people, I know that you know what you like and you don't like what you don't like. And you are set in your ways, and that's what I love about you. So I'm not going to try to do any convincing. But even just in the 2 nights that we've been here on our little trip, when I've been serving myself some wine, you've had some really good questions.
Yes.
So those are the types of things that I think people that are not crazy wine nerds might be curious about.
Yeah.
Whether they want to taste and learn, or whether they just kind of want to not feel lost in a conversation around people in their lives who are passionate about it. Otherwise, it all just sounds like want, wine, want.
Yes.
Tannins.
And you're
want,
right.
want, want.
The conversations we've had this weekend about why you like it and like what you're actually experiencing when you drink wine is different from just like, let's drink wine till we're wasted or till we're drunk. You have taught me that you enjoy it for the taste and the flavors that you experience. And, you know, there's a ritual, if you might say, like a spirituality to drinking wine that I think is cool. But I've already learned a lot about the passion, that it's not just about like, let's get a buzz on, you drink wine to do that.
Yeah.
It's a lot more. So I am open to trying to experience what people who appreciate wine are doing when they're drinking wine. So, yeah, that's what I would like to experience. And so I really think too, like for people in your life that don't drink wine or alcohol, I don't drink alcohol really now anymore. For those of you listening who may know me.
Because we're old.
Because we're old.
You drank it all in your 20s and 30s?
Yeah, it's all gone. I don't have a tolerance for it anymore. I feel like I get kind of sick when I drink alcohol of any kind. So I haven't drank for years now. But I think
But I'm not like pulling you off the wagon or anything with this experience. People are going to at me like, your friend Heather, you totally like pulled her down the drain. No,
we're here to learn about why wine is cool and why the taste, I should like learn about like what we're actually tasting. And that's the point of wine. Especially now that I'm not drinking it to get drunk or drinking it because it has alcohol in it.
Yeah.
There's a different part of it that because my bestie is passionate about it, I want to learn more.
Guys.
I want to be
I'm her bestie.
involved. And I think if you, like I was saying earlier, if you don't drink wine and you have a friend that's a wine drinker, you can have an appreciation. But also like appreciate, don't convert.
You can just have appreciation and awareness, just like I can have appreciation for things that I'm not a diehard in my life, like, I don't know, football, and things that my partner is really into that make his world go round.
Yeah.
I'm never going to convert. I'm never going to be diehard, but I can at least understand some of the terms and the vocabulary so that when I do want to, as a good partner, sit down and watch a quarter or two. Is it a quarter in football?
There are 4 quarters. You got it. 1 quarter.
And then there's the intermission where I get the wine. It's just nice to have that appreciation and not feel lost when I dip my toe in that world.
Yes.
You know? So I think that's what you're doing here. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm excited.
So let me set the scene for our listeners. First of all, we're in this fabulous Airbnb in the north of Lake Tahoe, and it's kind of like log cabin-y feeling. And as I'm sitting here, it's kind of going into the sunset hour, and we have this beautiful deck, and we're looking at Lake Tahoe, literally, as we sit here.
It's gorgeous.
and we're at the coffee table in the living room in front of this cute little wood stove. And I've opened 5. We're not drinking to get drunk, but I did open 5 different bottles of wine.
No, I was like, don't, are you wasting this on me?
No, because thank goodness, you know that contraption that I showed you that has the gas, the argon.
Yeah.
So that's called a coravin, which is, you know, these are going to be gassed, and we're driving home on this trip, which is great. It's not like we're flying. We can drive home with these in the car. And then Michael and I can take our time finishing these bottles over the next week or 2 because they'll be preserved from that argon from the coravin, which is so cool. Big fan. Link in the show notes to get yourself a coravin, by the way. So I've opened 2 whites and 3 reds, and they're all kind of different, but they're all kind of staples. And then we've got 2 sort of wild cards, which are lesser known grapes that you may or may not know much about at all. And then I made us a little cheese plate because we're going to talk about what happens when you introduce salt and cheese and nuts and protein. And does it change the wine? And so we have a couple different mixed cheeses on the plates. We've got some cheddar popcorn on there. We've got some nice little flatbread and some Marcona almonds. So let's just go for it. Let's just start with the first wine and just ask away. So the first wine on your left is a white wine. Okay, you see that, obviously. I didn't have to tell you that, right?
I got it.
Okay.
I'm quick.
All right, you give me a swirl.
Okay.
Don't taste it.
Okay.
What do you smell?
I don't know. This is why it's hard. It smells like wine to me.
Ding, 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 ding. You are correct. Ladies and gentlemen, she wins. The end. We're done. Okay, so let's break it down. In an earlier episode, I used the acronym FEW. F-E-W. Fruit, earth, wood. Did you listen to that one?
I did, yeah.
She's a long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah. So funny.
Okay, so do you remember learning about that?
Yes.
Okay, so let's start with F,
Okay,
fruit.
fruit.
Okay, is this wine, does it smell fruity, yes or no?
I'm like a dog. I mean,
this wine's subtle, I'm gonna give you that. It's not like screaming out of the glass, but I'm getting some subtle
yeah,
fruity
I think
notes.
there's grapes in here. Isn't that a fruit?
There were grapes once upon a time.
I win. I got it right.
And then we put them through fermentation, and now there's all these other compounds in there, and they mirror compounds that we know from fruits and flowers, which is why we smell them. This wine is not like berries, right? You're not getting like tutti frutti, cherry, strawberry. No. Generally, white wines, and this wine is Chardonnay, are going to have notes of citrus, maybe some apple. I'm getting a little more green, like tart apple.
Yes.
Ooh, okay. Talk to me.
I eat a lot of apples, and now that you're saying that,
Okay.
yes.
Think of what a green, like a Honeycrisp. Are they green? No.
Granny Smith.
Granny Smith.
Yeah.
Do you smell it?
Yep.
Yeah.
When you said apple, that's exactly what I thought. The green one, the tart one. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And shout out to Carol, my mother. Her favorite wine is Chardonnay.
yeah. Most people's moms and aunts and grandmas' favorite wines are Chardonnay because it's been very mass produced. There's a ton of them on the market. Okay. It can be very value priced. It can even come in a box. Does Carol know anything about that?
Yeah. Box is Carol's, what is it? Bouquet of choice. She is a box queen, box wine girl. But I don't think there's any shame in that game because you have said wine is subjective, right? It's whatever you like.
The nice thing about the box too is that, and especially of late, packaging is getting even better and better because what's in the box is usually a bag of some type, a bag in a box, which is helping with protecting against oxidation. Whereas when you open a bottle of wine, the clock is ticking unless you have a coravin on it, where you can like take your time with that box. And no, I always say, like what you drink, drink what you like, but know why you like it.
Yes. Okay, and that's what I'm learning today is why this might be.
So we identified some fruity and some apple. Do you get any earthy notes? Do you smell mushrooms? Do you smell leaves? Do you smell minerals? Do you smell a wet sidewalk after a summer rain in Lake Tahoe?
No.
No, this wine's, it's pretty mellow on the nose. Okay. And then W is wood.
You said wood.
Do you think?
Yeah, maybe like a You said leaves. I smell leaves now.
There's like a freshness,
Yeah.
like a botanical freshness.
Yep.
Okay, so we kind of have maybe a guess of what we think it's going to taste like based on the nose and our fruit, earthwood. Now taste it.
Okay. It's not bad.
Yay, you guys, we got a not bad. In my world, when people say not bad, especially when they're from the Northeast, hey, it's not bad.
I mean,
we
I've
take it as a
never
compliment.
concentrated that hard on what wine might be, so maybe that is why it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, well, you're giving it its full attention, right? And you're looking for things to notice. You're paying attention. And you said not bad, and that makes my heart happy.
Yeah, it wasn't like a rotten juice.
No, which I've seen you do that many times over our 25-year friendship. You even did it with something a few nights ago.
Yeah,
maybe it was red.
Red.
Yeah. Okay, but this is not bad.
I'm really hard to read. Like my emotions don't.
Y'all, there is no, and listen to me. So I've been with her for like 3 days now, and the y'all has rubbed off, and now I'm yawling. There's no guessing with Heather. It's one of the things I love about her. There's not a lot of filter. If you can imagine someone even more expressive than me, which is hard.
I mean, we could take it on the road, Nick. We could make money together, I guarantee you.
So in addition to this wine being, quote, not bad, we just took that one sip together, and then we went off on some crazy tangent, first of many, I'm sure.
Right.
It's been probably at least a minute since we swallowed that wine. For me, it's lingering.
Yeah.
And I almost got like a little butterscotchy.
Butter.
Yay!
Oh my God, do I have a sophisticated palate?
I think you do.
When you say it, I can identify it. I don't know if you're putting it in my head, but I do.
Stinky gym socks. Stinky gym socks.
Nope,
Stinky
don't
gym
taste-
socks. No, you're not getting
don't
that?
taste
Okay,
it.
good. Good.
But butterscotch, yeah. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Little butterscotchy finish. Try a bite of the white cheddar popcorn.
Okay.
This might be a fun
Test.
Let's chomp it on the microphone.
I'm gonna have a couple more.
I know I'm gonna have another.
Okay.
Okay, so we got some salt and some cheddar going on in the palate. Let's try this one again. Ooh,
It got stronger.
it did. What about it got stronger? A taste or texture or feeling?
I don't know. I just know that it's different.
For me, it got sharper, like more acidic.
Yes.
Did you get that?
Yep.
Yeah, that's because we added fat, probably from whatever cheese-like chemical that makes white cheddar popcorn appear to have cheddar going on. And salt, right?
Okay.
And it changed the wine. With this wine, did you like it better with or without the popcorn?
Without.
Okay, so just something to notice, right? By the way, this wine is from very close to my house in Sonoma County. I'm going to put the link in the show notes for all the wines today. But this wine is called Croix, C-R-O-I-X. I always want to say Croix, like La Croix, the drink.
yeah.
And I have to think before I say it. It's what I don't think it is. So it's Croix, C-R-O-I-X, which is in Sonoma County. And this is their 2021 Chardonnay. It's called Richard's Dinner. And it's beautiful. It's aged in oak, but they're all neutral barrels. Do you know what that means?
No.
They're old barrels. They're used. They weren't holding wine for the first time when they had this wine in it. They had held other wines before.
Same kind of wine or any
Yeah,
kind?
probably white wine.
Okay.
Probably other Chardonnay. But it means that it's not oaky because all the oakiness was sucked out of the barrels. The first wine and the second wine and the third wine.
How
that
many
was in
times
there.
can you use a barrel?
As long as you want.
Like 100 years?
Maybe. Most people don't use them that long, but like a decade.
Well, I don't know if it's like, oh, it makes it even more better if it's old.
It's just neutral and it's not imparting, quote, oakiness.
Okay.
So the W, the woodiness about the wine, this wine is a lowercase small font W. Some Chardonnays, you will put your nose in the glass and you're like, oh my God, it smells like a tree, right?
Okay.
That's new oak. That's not this.
right.
Okay?
Yeah. No. Okay.
So this is a pretty subtle Chardonnay. I thought this would be a fun one to taste with you because it's not a, quote, butter bomb.
Thank goodness. I know I'm not a fan of the butter bomb.
But do you know what wines that that have a high butteriness and high oakiness. That's what we mean by butter bomb. Do you know in the industry, and I hope people don't cancel me when I say this,
Yes.
what those wines are sometimes called?
The ones that are butter bombs.
Especially Chardonnay, like big buttery oaky Chardonnays that our moms and our aunts and our grandmas have drank for decades. I don't know if you know this. No. But you got the second part right.
Juice?
Cougar juice. Have you ever heard that?
You're canceled.
I'm canceled.
No, I haven't. Why
Wait,
is it called that?
Are you canceling me?
No, but based on
Because-
like cougar for like.
A woman of a certain age.
Okay.
Who tends to gravitate towards that wine. It's a huge stereotype, but there is some truth to it.
Okay.
This is not that style of Chardonnay.
No, because it's not buttery.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not a butter bomb cougar juice.
All right. So as we move on from wine number one, tell me like one or two things that you learned or
Okay, I learned
noticed.
that you have to keep that acronym in mind when you're smelling, and that the smell is important, and then that anything you eat with a wine will change the taste of the wine.
Yay. Gold star. Okay, cool. So let's go on to our second white wine that is already in the glass. Okay. So this is not Chardonnay. This is a different grape. Give it a good swirl.
And what is swirling doing that is important?
It makes you look freaking fancy. You look good doing that in my brand new Riedel glasses that I brought on vacation with us. Swirling gets oxygen in the glass, which just means that you smell and taste more.
Okay.
Because wine is chemistry in the glass, and the chemistry in the glass is volatile. And when it comes in contact with oxygen, things release, and it simply lets you smell and taste more.
Why do people pour it in that other glass container before pouring it in the wine? The decanter, I think it's called. No, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Same thing. What swirling does, decanting does exponentially, because a decanter puts a lot of surface area of oxygen on a wine, and it helps the wine to open up. What are you getting on this?
I know that it still smells just like wine to me, but it does smell different than the other wine.
Here's the cool thing. Smell it, and this is why we do glasses in front of us.
Okay.
Go back to your Chardonnay and smell from one wine to the next.
Wow, it's different.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. I smell the wood, the leaves in this one. The old one.
The earthiness of the Chardonnay.
The earth.
I'm also getting a little butteriness and that butterscotchy finish that we noticed. I didn't smell it before.
Is this one flowery? Is it smell like flower?
The new white wine is flowery.
Oh.
It's very floral.
Yeah. Okay.
And I would put flowers in the E, fruit, earth, wood. Flowers I'm going to put in the E under earth. They grow out of the earth, okay?
Okay.
What about fruitiness?
Just tell me what's in earth. Flowers.
Anything but fruit.
Sticks.
And anything but wood. Could be spices, could be flowers, could be, like you were saying, leaves or minerals or dirt.
Like grass?
Forest, grass, mushrooms. Basically anything natural that's not fruit.
Okay.
Okay?
Helps.
So yeah, this wine definitely has a floral. If you kind of smell it and you go, okay, high floral, I already noticed you, and now I'm going to push you aside in my brain, and I'm going to see what else is in there and dig deeper. Let's look for some
smell
fruity.
again?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's look for some fruitiness that's not floral. Do you get your green apple in here?
Yeah.
Okay. What about a pear?
Yes. That's what I smell.
What about a peach?
Maybe.
Early season peach, not ripe, like dripping down your chin, but like...
That's the only ones I eat. Smells good, though.
It does smell good. I just want to dip my finger in this glass and put a little bit of this behind each one of my ears, because this wine is known for being very floral. And then wood, not very much on this, as minimal as the Chardonnay, right?
Oh, yeah.
Are you getting... I don't want to tell you what you're getting.
No, it's not as strong. Dang, when you go back and forth...
That's why we do it.
You can really tell.
Yeah.
And now, butterscotch, baby.
Back on the first one.
Like big time.
Totally. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So you kind of have an idea based on the second white wine, which I haven't told you what it is yet. what you have identified. You kind of think you know what it may or may not taste like.
Okay.
Taste it.
Sour.
And scene. And there we have it. Let's write it up in Wine Spectator.
You can taste there's a difference. Mm-hmm. I just don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. I like it better than the first one.
Nice. What do you like about it?
It's lighter. It feels like it's not as a heavy, that's how I would describe it.
Heavy flavor or heavy feeling in your mouth?
Feeling in my mouth.
Okay. So this is Viognier from Pride. Viognier is a grape that you don't see a lot of.
I have never heard of a wine called VMA. VMAs.
VMAs are awards, I think.
Open the bottle of that MTV Music Awards.
Viognier.
Viognier.
It looks like Viognier on the label because
Okay.
it's French and we say Viognier.
Viognier.
Oh, you said it better than
Because I'm
me.
French. What do you want?
Viognier is known for being very floral and aromatic. This grape is in the same family of grapes as Riesling and Gewürztraminer. When I say that, what do you think? Riesling.
I think of sweet because I know Riesling's sweet. Mm-hmm. I don't generally prefer sweet things in general. Mm-hmm. I don't generally prefer sweet things.
But you're friends with me. So in another previous episode called Hey Sugar, Understanding Sweetness in Wine, about 3 episodes back, I talk about exactly what you said is a very common perception that when people hear Riesling, even if they don't know anything about wine, they go, oh, I know that's sweet.
Yeah.
Not all Riesling is sweet. It can be made in a sweet style, but it could also be made in a dry style. Dry is the opposite of sweet. Dry means all the sugar became alcohol. Okay?
Oh, dry is the opposite of sweet in wines.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's good to know.
The word dry is tricky because it kind of has 2 meanings in wine. We just talked about the first one. Dry, not sweet. Sugar, not present, became alcohol. Wine drinkers also use the word dry to describe how wine feels in their mouth when it literally makes your mouth feel dry. That is a separate use of the word dry, and that comes from tannin.
Okay.
This wine does not feel like that.
No.
Chalky, bitter, astringent. We're going to save that for the reds.
Oh, God. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm going to. That's like the real rotten juice.
But do you like this one?
Yes. When I say like, I don't want to like drink it. But I don't mind.
Does this one offend you less than most?
Yes.
I thought you were going to say, when I say like, I don't mean like I want to drink a whole bottle. You said, I don't want to drink it.
I don't want to drink it again.
Okay.
No. I can tell that I prefer this taste over the first wine taste.
There we go.
Okay.
So it's not Chardonnay. It's floral. It's dry, not sweet.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful with shellfish. If we go out to the coast on Monday to Bodega and we get like oysters and shellfish, like we'll take this with us. It's really fun with briny things that taste of the ocean in your mouth. It's also great with spicy food. Like, you know me, I love jalapeno and serrano on all things. And a lot of times when you're trying to pair wine with something spicy, after you have the spice in your mouth, the wine tastes like shit.
Yeah.
This wine is like a little fire extinguisher in the mouth. In fact, hold on. Okay. I'm going to get you one of your chili pistachios.
Okay.
Which normally I would not recommend with wine tasting because the chili would just overpower.
Okay.
But I want you to try that.
So I'm going to eat the pistachio.
We've been housing this bag of chili pistachios during our girls' weekend.
Oh, you want me to have another one? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to eat them.
Okay, give me one.
Sorry. Me, you want to share? They're so good.
Focus. Stay with me.
Okay.
Nice little chili.
Okay. And then taste, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my God. It is doing something I can understand the fire extinguisher analogy.
Yay! It didn't make the wine bad or
No.
weird in any way. For me, it made it
just made it-
softer.
It's so weird to pay attention to this, you know?
Like,
it's interesting.
like that statement right there.
Yeah.
Like, we're done. Like, my work is done. It's just, if you pay attention, there's so much to it, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm beginning to understand why this is appealing to some folks, because it is more than just, drinking an alcoholic drink to.
Yeah. For me, and you mentioned this at the start of the recording, but I love to drink wine because it tastes good. I'm not drinking to feel it, and I'm not drinking to get drunk. And sometimes I wish that, like, the alcohol almost gets in the way because I want to have more because it tastes good, but I don't want to pay the price and feel it.
What about, can you make non-alcoholic wine that tastes just as good, or is that not a thing?
Ooh, hot topic.
Hot topic.
We are children of the 80s. Yes, there is non-alcoholic wine, just like there's non-alcoholic beer, right? Yes.
It's a purist thing. Like, this is what wine is.
For me, and I'm not going to speak for everyone, I'm just not there yet.
Okay.
But I know that's important, and I know of late people are drinking less or choosing not to drink at all for health reasons. Mm-hmm. So these non-alcoholic wines are coming forward in the market and on people's radars. There's different ways to make them, but the main way is to make an actual wine in the same process and then literally de-alcoholizationing. There's a process where it literally puts the wine through a centrifuge, essentially, and removes the alcohol. So
Wow. And then it's supposed to taste the exact same.
yeah,
Do you think it does? Have you done this?
I don't.
You don't think it tastes the same?
I don't. Okay. But to be fair, I have not tasted a lot of them.
Okay.
And there's more on the market now than ever. So I probably need to dig into that and just be aware.
Yeah.
So I can speak about it more intelligently than I am right now.
Sure.
But
if you are in it for the taste, maybe you'll find one that you do like the taste of,
Yeah.
but you don't have to just drink that one.
Yeah.
It's just another thing to taste and experience.
yeah, no, it's a great question. It's a great question. Okay, let's move on to a red.
Not a lot.
Did you guys hear her? Not a lot.
I don't want you to waste it.
Okay, so this is our first of 3 reds. I think you saw what it was, so I'm not going to try.
I didn't see.
Really?
I didn't look. I can't see you have the labels turned away from me.
All right, let's give it a smell. F-E-W.
Let me swirl it around. Y'all, look at me.
Y'all, she's got a nice swirl. Hey, do not spill that wine and get swirl on our Airbnb white carpet. I'll lose my security deposit.
It smells like cherries. Is that right? Is it?
It's very fruit forward, and typically this wine is known for having a cherry note. So that jumped out at you right away.
Right away.
So this wine, I would say, is a capital F for fruit. There's a
I like the
high
other F word.
capital, all caps. Okay. What about any earthiness?
Yeah, there's something in here that's not cherry or fruity. I don't.
She's concentrating really hard.
I can't identify what it is.
Do you want me to give you suggestions
Yes.
or give you a moment?
Tell me some suggestions, but like make some of them wrong. Okay. So.
Stinky gym socks,
No, don't smell that.
rotten fish,
Nope.
licorice,
I don't like licorice, so
anise,
what's anise?
a spice like star anise.
I don't know that.
Okay. Tobacco.
Yes.
Ooh.
There's tobacco in this. It smells like some kind of tobacco, a sweeter tobacco.
Cherry tobacco.
Oh yeah.
All right. And let's look at our wood. Do we get any oakiness?
I do smell wood. I don't know what it is.
Every time. Every time. Sorry, I cut you off. You said I do smell wood. I don't know.
I don't know what it is, but I know there's a wood smell.
Okay. So there's some, this wine was probably aged in oak barrels.
Okay.
If it's not jumping out at you like, oh, oaky, they're probably not new. They're probably used. So we're going to put a small W on here.
And am I right? Is it right? Am I right?
Sure.
What about the cherry part? That's what I smell.
Yeah. Now, when I say yes,
And for sure the tobacco. Now that you've said that, it's definitely both.
So did the person that make this wine put cherries and or tobacco in the wine at any point?
No, it was in the earth, in the air, and in the sun, spring, water, rain, in the earth,
It's chemistry.
in the ground.
The same compounds that make cherries smell and taste like cherries are in here.
Wow.
The same compounds that make tobacco smell and taste like tobacco are in here naturally from the fermentation process. Cool. It's not necessarily that these grapes were grown near a cherry tree. Big black holes in a cherry tree. Remember, that was one of my karaoke songs that I would sing.
Which song is that?
Black Horse in a Cherry Tree by KT Tunstall. And I say no, 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 say no, no. You're not the one
cherry
for me.
tree. I don't know the words.
No, but when you were saying, like, did it come from the air and come from the water? Not directly, okay? It's not like the roots of these grapevines were sucking up what was in the ground. We say to that, if roots were like straws, literally sucking up the flavors of the soil, then tomatoes would taste like shit. Manure. They'd be sucking up the flavor of the manure
you're right.
that they're fertilized with, and they don't.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
Science.
Science. Okay. So give it one more smell.
Okay.
And then give it a taste.
Do you always swirl your wine every time?
Every single time.
Because it does something every time.
Yes.
It's letting more and more oxygen in.
You got it.
So is it changing the smell or is it just making it stronger?
That's a good question. Both.
The cherries, I mean.
Do you like cherries?
Yes.
So are you excited to taste
Well,
this?
yeah, and it's red, and I normally had a bad experience with a red wine when I was like 20. But anyway, let's try
Well,
it.
we're not 20 anymore.
No kidding.
Or 30 or 40 anymore.
Wait, we're 40s.
40s. Barely.
Okay. Normally when I taste red wine, it's like immediately gag. And this is not gag. It's like,
Good, because I made it.
you did? This is my wine. You know what?
Oh my God.
It's not disgusting. Like, you know what I mean?
Take hashtag not
I'm sorry, but
disgusting.
congratulations. Because Nikki, you know, like I do not like red wine.
I was waiting for you to make the rotten juice face that you make with all red.
It's not there. It doesn't taste rotten. I mean, it tastes like wine, but not.
She's taking another sip, you guys.
Oh my God, it's pretty good for you. Good job. I'm serious. I'm not disgusted by this. And when I taste red wine, it's like red wine.
She's scrunching her face in many different ways right now.
I'm so proud of you. I'm serious. This is not gross. You know, I would tell you if I thought if I
Girl, I know. I've been with you for the last 3 days.
I love that you didn't tell me this was yours because maybe I would have had some bias in like trying to support you.
Sure. Thank you for that. I love
good.
you.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. The cherry situation is
The
so
cherry,
cool.
the cherry situation is high. So let's see if you remember the type of grape, the type of wine that I make. It's the Italian grape.
Starts with an S.
Uh-huh.
Sl-
It rhymes with Schmangiavesi.
Sangiovese. I know. I have a hard enough time pronouncing your wine's name because I'm slow. But anyway, that's like legit. I haven't tasted your wine.
I know.
Did I taste it last night? It was the pride.
I was saving this. I was saving this for our podcast because I really wanted to truly capture your first unfiltered impression that you've ever had this wine
I
before.
can't believe that the smell of the tobacco and the cherry. Are those the two strongest things in here?
Yeah, I would say.
What else is in here?
Violets, purple flowers, little pepper spice.
Pepper. Mm-hmm. I can.
It's very cherry forward.
Very cherry.
Yeah.
Thank God I like cherries. What if I didn't?
Right? Well, and it's funny too, and this is the tricky slippery slope with wine when we try to pull out notes of fruit and flowers and things that we can all relate to. When I say licorice and you're like, I don't like licorice, like right away, I'm like, well, shit, why did I say that? Because now you have like a negative connotation, right?
But it's not strong. I don't taste licorice.
Yeah.
I taste that cherry. I taste that tobacco and that. Now that you've said pepper, there's something that's spicy in there.
Do you have one of these long, skinny white cheeses, triangle like this?
Yes.
All right, I want you to try that.
Okay. This is the goat cheese.
This is goat Gouda.
I learned about cheese last night, y'all.
We did this like with cheese last night.
It's so good.
It's so good. Now try the wine again.
Okay. It made it less spicy. It's like lighter. Is that right?
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. She's taking another sip, you guys. I should be videoing this.
Cheese makes me want to like gulp it because I'm thirsty.
Well, and that's my problem is like a bite and a sip and a bite and a sip and a bite and a sip. And then I ate all the cheese and drank all the wine.
It did make it better. It didn't make it like grosser. I mean, it's good by itself, actually.
Didn't make it grosser. Typically, Sangiovese, the name of this red grape, is kind of in the middle of the spectrum of red grapes when we talk about boldness, concentration, and then specifically tannin, right? Tannin, as I mentioned, is what can feel chalky, astringent, sometimes bitter. If a wine is really tannic, which is not this one, it can be like a fuzzy sweater on your teeth. Okay.
Ew, I'm not sure I want to feel that.
Yeah.
Ever. Is this, but this is like, there's a strong aftertaste. It's in my mouth that is not bad.
Okay.
Again, a red wine thing that I have experienced afterwards.
Okay. So
Gross.
you like what's lingering?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bitter.
It's
like
pleasant, and it almost makes you want to take another sip. So we're going to replace the word aftertaste, which has a negative connotation,
right,
with the word finish. This wine has a pleasant finish. Or a long finish. That's the word in wine that you use to say you like how it's still hanging out in your cheeks and your tongue, and you're like, it's pleasant, it's not off-putting, it's not drying, and it kind of makes me want to have another sip. It's a pleasant finish. It has a soft finish. It has a long finish. I don't know, I just had soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. I just got that in my head. Big bang.
I'm so proud that that's your wine and that I like it.
I'm so relieved because I was like, this is going to be interesting. And I had already decided that if you tasted my wine and said rotten juice, like I wasn't going to edit it out, right? This is not a commercial for my wine. No. This is really capturing unfiltered thoughts of someone who says they don't like wine. So Sangiovese is in the middle of the spectrum, like I said. So it's not as bold and rich and heavy and tannic as Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Syrah, some of those. But it's not as light and see-through in the glass like Pinot Noir would be, which is one of the lightest reds. Sangiovese, especially the way that we make it, is very much in the middle of the spectrum. So
congratulations, dude.
Thanks.
I'm serious. That's amazing.
Thanks. You knew me when?
I knew you would. All right.
Just going to pour another wine.
Let me just rinse it out. Just kidding. Water in your mouth, not in the glass.
Oh, who taught you that?
This chick I know. She has a podcast.
Why is that important?
Because you're diluting the flavors in the wine by adding the tiny bit of water. It's better to have whatever residuals were left from the first wine.
Did you guys hear me crying? Now I'm the proud teacher.
There's a whole art to this. I'm learning. My appreciation is growing.
I'm proud of you just for being open and for trying.
I'm proud of myself.
So you still have your Solavato off to the left in case you want to have more. Do you know what the word for wine is in that when you want to like taste the wine again in a wine tasting?
Obsession?
No, but I love that. You say, can I just have a revisit?
Revisit.
That wine? I'd like to revisit.
So wait, remind me what the aftertaste one is? Finish. Finish and revisit.
If it's positive,
it's a finish.
Sometimes it's an aftertaste and it's horrible and it's offensive and you can call it an aftertaste. Okay. But If you like it and it's positive, finish.
Okay.
Take both of these glasses. Both.
These two?
Yep, the 2 reds. So we're going to finish with 2 more reds.
Okay.
Just remember which is which, what's on your left, what's on your right, okay?
Okay.
Just smell back and forth between these 2 wines. Take a minute with them. Think about your fruit, earth, and wood.
Ew, that one stinks.
Ooh, okay.
Ew! Maybe it's because I smelled this one first.
What stinks about it?
I don't know. It was like a, it's not as bad as like when I stopped and gave it a second and smelled it again. But
So when
smelling it
you
from-
have such a strong reaction about a smell, me
Yeah.
as a wine professional and someone
Yeah.
who pours wine for people, my first reaction is like, oh shit, is it corked? Like, is there a flaw?
Spoiled?
Is there a flaw?
Okay.
And I smelled that there's not a flaw. This wine is
I'm flawed. Is that what you're saying?
this wine is clean. That was just your personal reaction,
I
which
think
is fine.
now that I'm not smelling this one and that one, it's not as bad.
Okay.
It's changing.
Okay,
Clearly.
let's do some swirling.
Okay.
So just based on smell, the first one that you were smelling was more appealing to you?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Like if I said you can only have a sip of one of these,
I would choose this one,
okay?
not the one that I didn't
Which
like.
in this scenario, we're just going to call wine 1.
Okay.
For this scenario, we have 1 and 2. Okay. Let's go through fruit, earth, wood on wine 1.
This is the hardest part.
Roll it around in your glass, like not only swirling, but see how I'm tilting the glass and then rotating it. It's coating the inside.
yeah. So pretty.
Try that. And then here's another thing.
Okay.
Take your free hand
Yeah.
over the top,
Yeah.
swirl it like you're covering like
Oh,
a
I'm
lid.
trapping it.
Trap it and then release it into your nose. Stronger?
Yeah, super stronger, but I don't know what I smell. Flour? Mm-hmm. So is it earthy or is it fruity?
It's both. To me, this
No,
wine is
fruity.
both. Yeah.
Yeah, there's fruit in here too.
Okay. Cherries jumping out at you, or Granny Smith apples, or maybe darker color red fruits like
Dark color.
blueberry or a blackberry.
Ooh, yeah. Blackberry.
Okay. Okay. Woody, spicy,
Spice?
pepper spice, or
Pepper.
baking spice like clove, vanilla, cinnamon,
Oh.
nutmeg.
Yes, clove. It's the baking.
I can't remember. You loved pumpkin spice, or you hated pumpkin spice?
I do like pumpkin. I do like
You
pumpkin
like it,
spice.
okay. So minus the pumpkin, but the spices that accompany pumpkin spice. Baking spices, which comes from barrels.
Is there nutmeg?
Sure, yeah. So of all the wines that you've had today, the 2 whites and the Sangiovese, this wine, these 2,
Yeah.
have the most new oak on them. Some of the barrels that held both of these red wines in front of you were new, which is going to amp up a little bit of the oakiness, the woodiness, and the baking
Can I
spices.
smell your wine
Sure.
and then that one and see? God dang, the cherries in there. So when you change,
Yeah.
it's kind of fun. It's
This
like a
is how
science
it is science.
experiment.
When I did my first wine certification, when I first moved to California in 2012, the Culinary Institute, we were in this like lecture bowl, and we would have 10 glasses of whatever it was that we were talking about that moment in front of us. And then you have like a lighted table that's built into the countertop that you would hold the
See the
glass
color?
over to identify the color. But I just remember the biggest aha moments I ever had when I was new at this
Yeah.
was when you have comparison and you can go back and
Yes, that has been the, like, I can't identify
Because
the
when have you
smell.
ever had 3 different types of wines in front of you at this?
That's been the biggest thing that I'm noticing is I can't identify, but I know they're different. And that's cool.
And it takes a while to identify and be able to pull out these things. It's just like anything. It's like learning, being a musician or a sport. You were a gymnast, right? All of those things take training to hone in. But just the fact that you can say they're different, to me, is a level of appreciation in and of itself that you've never had. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's go back to the new 2. I know you pulled the Solavato back into your
I sure did.
frame, but we're going to push that out to the side.
Okay.
With the 2 reds that I just poured, wine 1 on your left,
Okay.
the one that you said you liked the smell of better.
Right.
Go ahead and taste it and see if it tastes like it smells.
Okay. This one's dry.
Good observation. What causes that dry feeling in your mouth? T-word.
The tannins.
This wine definitely has the most tannin.
It tastes the most like red wine. Like this is what red wine tastes like to me. So, I don't enjoy it. It's just, I think it's the bitter, maybe it's the tannins that I don't.
This wine has a good amount of tannin. Have another bite of any of the cheeses on your plate or even the popcorn.
Are we the same person?
Are we the same person? I grabbed a bite of mimolette, which is this really orange French.
I got this stuff. I'm not sure what it is.
Is it the truffle one? Getting truffle.
Yep.
You got truffle. Oh,
Okay.
this is going to be fun.
Okay.
So you got a little truffle cow's milk from Spain. Try the one again.
Are you supposed to smell it as you drink it? Is that like,
Smell before.
you know how when you drink whiskey, you don't inhale. You're supposed to just, I don't know. That's what I was told because it's so strong. But you smell before and then drink.
Before, during, after. All of it.
I think it mellowed it out. It's definitely not as strong.
Yes.
Weird.
Yes. Yes, because I think, confirm this for me, but I think what was off-putting about this one on its own to you that you didn't love was the tannin.
Yes.
Which tastes like bitter, feels like dry, chalky.
Yes.
So here's what's happening with tannin. This is the science. Tannin comes from the skin of the grape. If we had table grapes, red grapes from the grocery store sitting here right now, I would tell you to peel the skin off the grape and just put the skin alone in your mouth. You would feel the dryness, same as you would if you put a tea bag in your mouth. Tea has tannin, okay? Which I was telling you because you drink a lot of tea.
A lot of tea, yeah.
What happens when tannin is in your mouth is it forms a bond with the protein in your saliva. Your saliva gets bound up and taken away by tannin. What neutralizes the perception of that tannin is salt.
Golly, it is way more enjoyable if you eat the cheese first.
Did you just use the E word when drinking a glass of Merlot?
Yeah, I didn't say I wanted to drink it the whole glass. I said it's more enjoyable.
You used the E word. This is Pride Merlot.
Oh my golly!
This is our 2021 Merlot from Pride Mountain Vineyards.
That's crazy. Normally, I know from my past, Merlot has been my least favorite red wine. I know I don't like Merlot. Yeah, this is like different when you add a little bit of mindfulness to what you're doing and the cheese, and it's fun. I'm like smiling from ear to ear.
You are smiling because you've had 4 sips of wine, which is the most you've had in a year.
Most alcohol I've had in a few years. That's funny.
Yay.
No, I don't think it's that, but that's enjoyable.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's finish the last one.
Okay, this is the one that I thought was stanky.
Stanky. Let's finish with the stanky one.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see if if the stank has changed in the glass. I love that stank. I want to climb in that glass.
Ooh, what's that smell? Okay, it doesn't smell bad anymore.
Okay.
It's not as tannin-y as that one.
Okay. Tannic.
It still tastes like red wine, though. It doesn't have as much flavor in it.
Okay. As the Merlot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I guess strong. It's not as strong by itself.
Okay.
So maybe if we eat food with it.
Let's try it. Okay. I would do a bite of popcorn with this. That's what, I mean, you could do whatever. Or try an almond.
I was about to say, can I try an almond?
Yeah, we get some Mercon almond. Get her with her swirl now, you guys. She's like...
It's a tornado up in there. That made it different.
Okay. Different how?
Better.
Okay. So this is a very classic red grape that you probably know, that you hear people drink all the time. And it's bigger and bolder.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it as much as I did the food with the Merlot.
I'm not surprised.
Okay.
It's kind of an acquired taste.
Yeah.
This is Cabernet Sauvignon. Ooh, and you just made a scrunchy face. Why? You hadn't made that face this whole time with this wine. You weren't like loving it, but you hadn't made a scrunchy face until I said the name.
The Cabernet is the one that I had the bad experience with.
You said that with Merlot. How many bad experiences did you have?
Merlot and Cabernet. Red wine has not been kind to me.
Okay.
In the past.
Maybe you weren't kind to that red wine.
It was probably cheap and I probably wasn't kind to it.
And you probably drank too much of it.
Way too much of it.
Okay.
Yeah. I was not appreciative or mindful.
So now we're on the farther end of the spectrum, although this is not a super bold in-your-face Napa Cab. This is Pride Mountain Vineyards 2021 Cabernet Sauvignon. You went back to the Merlot.
Yeah. And they taste similar to me.
They are similar.
Yeah.
So these grapes, Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon, are kind of like sisters. They are originally from the same place in the world, the Bordeaux region in France, and they're very often blended together.
These two wines?
Uh-huh. These
Merlot
two
and
grapes.
Cab together.
Uh-huh. Correct.
And then is that called something?
If it's 75% or more of one of them,
It's called that.
it's just called that.
Okay.
So,
But it'll say Merlot blend.
nope, it just says Merlot or
How will
Cabernet.
you know if it's blended then?
You don't.
Oh, okay.
Okay. These wines, the Merlot is about 90% Merlot with a little bit of Cabernet. And the Cabernet is like 90% Cabernet with a little bit of Merlot. I call them sister wines.
With the cheese and drinking the Merlot after is better than this.
Mm-hmm. Merlot can be a gateway red for people too because it's softer and fruitier, where Cabernet Sauvignon tends to be like, boom, pack a little more punch, right? Yeah. So for most people, and just look at how much progress you've made in our time here tonight, I know. Cabernet is an acquired taste because it tends to be less fruity than the Merlot and have more earthy and the tobacco and herbal notes.
Yeah, definitely.
And take some getting used to if you're not into these wines.
Yeah,
but
it's like more power.
okay, well, you did great.
Thank you.
What other wine questions do you have?
I think I had asked you earlier, when you go to a wine tasting, is it usually paired with food? Is that a normal thing or?
Some yes, some no. Just depends on the winery. And some wineries offer different experiences. So there may be a baseline experience where you're just tasting the wine, but then they may offer an elevated experience where now they're going to bring you a cheese board.
Okay.
Or I've been to one recently, Bricoleur, which is near my house in Santa Rosa. They have a full kitchen and a chef on site, and they bring out this tray of bites, and it's literally, here is a bite that chef made for you to pair with this wine.
Wow.
And you have like a little, almost like a bento box tray in front of you with all these bites. So it can be done in any of those formats.
I will tell you that what I am enjoying the most about this is eating the food and then tasting it afterward and seeing the difference in the taste. Yeah. And there is a big difference. Mm-hmm. The food with it is a game changer for me in terms of like enjoying or appreciating it more. Just drinking it, I don't want to drink it, but having a purpose behind why you drink it, I think for me has been the most eye-opening.
My work is done.
It is definitely an experience.
Yeah. You feel like you have an appreciation
Definitely.
of why I turned my whole life upside down and left everything that I knew to chase this and study this and make this. And,
yes.
And very fulfillingly do this, right? Teach people, expose people, open people's eyes. Mm-hmm. That's like my favorite part about what I get to do.
Well, it's really cool to have a peek into your world of where you've spent so much time and energy and sweat and tears and money and
oh my God, tears, a lot of tears.
It's a world of its own, and I do feel like I understand it better now. But I'm so proud of you. This really is legit. And even tasting these now, like, no thank you to the Merlot and the Cab. Yours is good to taste.
It's a softer red, so I'm not surprised that of the reds, this is kind of where you landed.
Awesome.
Not being a big red drinker. So that's part of the reason we also make Sangiovese, because not everybody loves Cabernet. And
well, my advice is if you're not a wine drinker or you don't understand it, go to a tasting, somebody who's educated like my friend Nikki, and have an experience.
Thanks for this idea on the podcast.
Yeah.
Appreciate, don't hate.
I love you. Yeah.
Here, cheers.
Cheers.
So there's our new mantra, appreciate, don't hate. I really had no idea how that was going to go. And of course, I was pleasantly surprised, not only that she was just so open, and I think definitely after less than an hour, walked away with a new appreciation. I don't know if that she's going to be a wine connoisseur, and that's totally fine. It's not for everyone, but I feel as a wine educator satisfied by the outcome from our time together. If you have someone in your life that doesn't like wine and you do, this might be a fun episode to share with them. From any platform where you're listening, there should be a little square with an arrow in the top right, and that makes it super easy to text it and share it with someone that you know. If you haven't already downloaded my wine tips cheat sheet, it is some of my favorite concepts that help you make sense of wine. It's a single sheet PDF and I'll send it right to your inbox. Just go to my website, sipwithnikki.com, and then /resource. Did you know that you can support the podcast? This is all free content that I am putting out there into the world, but every once in a while somebody asks how they can show their appreciation. So there is a link in the show notes to this episode you're listening to. Click on support the podcast and you can buy me a lovely glass of wine to say thank you. And if you're curious about the wonderful contraption that I mentioned that I was using to preserve all 5 open bottles that we did not finish, it's called a Coravin. And if you look in the show notes, there will be a link where you can purchase one. Check the link in the show notes for Coravin. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. And until next week, sip well.